Hello and welcome back, viewers, to MDG Media. We are excited to be bringing you final round back 9 FPO lead card coverage of the 2025 Ale Open. Only 9 holes remain to be seen who will be crowned your next Disc Golf Pro Tour Elite FPO champion. An exciting conclusion to this tournament. I'm Connor Wood, and with me, Elias Luukkonen.
What's up, Connor? What's up, viewers? Nice to be here once again. Final 9 holes. We're going in the woods to determine who is going to be the champion, as you said. That's likely going to be either Kristin Lätt, or Silva Saarinen, as they have a sizable lead over the rest of the field. As you can see here, Kristin 10 under, Silva 9 under, and the rest of the field a little bit further back. Rachel and Anniken on our card battling for position, trying to get that third spot on the podium. But this one will come down to Kristin or Silva unless there is a huge meltdown by the both of them.
And it is a historic rivalry, Elias, with Silva stringing together many wins in a row last year. But while Kristin was not in the field, they have battled on the lead card over and over. So far, she has been insurmountable. We go now to hole 10. A 100-meter par 3 uphill the entire way with OB lining the left and the right. Once you get up to the green, it opens up a little bit more on the right side so you can crash the trees, leaving you this look at the basket. It's an attackable hole, although not without its dangers. The left side OB only really comes into play if you accidentally go over the wall. The discs often filter back off it inbounds. We see Silva here playing a hyzer flip up to flat, fading towards the left side OB, and exactly as I mentioned, that wall almost always kicking the disc back, but this is a crazy roll. However, that is a putt for Silva. Here is Kristin.
Kristin with a conservative height, the angle is perfect, but she's going to be a little bit short there. Both Silva and Kristin in that circle 2 range, and we're going to see a bit of a putt-off between who is by far the best FPO putter in the world, Silva Saarinen, and Kristin, who is also one of the better ones.
And you mentioned the low height on Kristin's shot. It is slightly uphill with that late low ceiling, so it's a common mistake, but throwing low also brings that left side OB out of play for the right-handed player, Anniken Christiansen Steen. Left-handed player fading back to the right, but using that extra space that opens up on the green to her favor. We will be left with 4 long putts, nobody particularly close. Every stroke counts here, going into the back 9.
And while that is a good effort, it's a potential stroke lost with Silva within circle 2 here. And Anniken, tricky line, not really having a chance to run it for birdie.
Silva now to equalize at 10 under, but you can see she's left with very little and opting to simply play for the par as well. She had the fortune of seeing Kristin putt first, knowing that she will not lose a stroke with that layup. I think critical in her decision making. And Rachel quite timid, potentially due to the OB behind the basket, but I think that's her most common mistake on the putt, is often the slight early release. However, good for the comebacker, as we look to have a par frame for our FPO lead card here on 10.
Yeah, the back 9 dynamic is going to be interesting because, of course, with the 2 first place players being so far ahead, Rachel and Anniken, they're not really thinking about winning this tournament, but rather just playing their own game and trying to not only beat the other player on the lead card, but also the chase and third card, as we saw some solid scores being shot further down the board. We're moving on to the shortest, I believe this to be the shortest hole of the course, just 84 meters. It shapes really nice for a left to right moving forehand, while the perfect shot to park this hole is going to be a right hand backhand turnover. The forehand is good enough to put you in the circle most of the times. Of course, Silva not being much of a forehand thrower, opts for the backhand. And I really like the stability of this disc for this shot.
And using all of the width available to her, she starts out very left side, curls up in the right, Kristin playing the more traditional shot for the right-handed player, the forehand hyzer. She too, however, pushes it quite straight and will contest with that tree line, likely having a long but obstructed look. Rachel playing the lower forehand. I think this is more favorable in terms of ground play. I think nestling right up there next to Kristin's, just behind the tree, however, may have to straddle. A nice lefty hole here for Anniken to try and execute on the back end.
Yeah, the shape is perfect for the lefty here, and going around the backside gonna result in a circle 1 putt. I feel like every other hole on this course is really nice for the lefty, and every other hole is pretty tricky. It's a well-balanced course. Shout out to the course designer of this well number 2 course on UDisc.
Rachel unable to connect from the awkward lie. We go to Kristin, slightly closer, less obstructed.
And a strong looking chain hit there just on the right side. Not gonna be good for the birdie, and Silva now has a chance to tie the game. They're just playing almost identical right now on hole 10 and on hole 11. Very similar results. And the 1-stroke difference is going to remain.
And this battle for third is still a very tight between Anniken and Rachel. Potentially others on the chase card as well. You mentioned the gap that the top 2 leaders have on the field, Elias. But of course there is not only rating and cash on the line, but those coveted podium positions at a DGPT Elite Series event.
Yeah, and not even only that, this is also a qualifier for the later major events of the season, European Disc Golf Festival and the Women's Championship over in the US.
We see here hole 12. 2 options on the tee. You can go left or right of this initial bundle of trees. The left one is maybe a slightly larger fairway, but a more pinched angle. The right one, a better angle, but skinnier gap. These players will converge to the middle, where they're then left with this long straight fairway littered with small skinny trees. They will need to navigate through them, find their disc up here on this very dangerous green, Elias. The slope behind the basket produces rollaways very frequently, and players most often as a result will try to land just short of the pin, as anything long can introduce the rollaway. Anniken naturally going to the left side with her backhand, controlling the skip. She is in the fairway, likely though, bit uncomfortable swing nestled up against that tree.
I think compared to the other players, I think to Anniken it's not such a big difference being there or in the middle of the fairway as we have seen before. Look at this, Silva with a tree kick in the middle of the fairway. Really good shot. But as I was saying, I think Anniken is going to be playing this one mostly for par, as it's a tricky lefty approach. And Kristin here, opposite side as Silva. It was interesting seeing Silva going for that turnover shot, as it does have more distance potential, but it's a bit of a riskier shot. And Kristin just perfectly there with backhand hyzer.
Rachel also playing the high and wide hyzer. The more height you give it, the less likely you are to have a significant skip. You see her check up nicely in the center. The more straight, flat shot can give you a really big skip on this hard-packed earth. Rachel up first to try and pierce to the green. This has a really nice shape if it can fade left before the bushes. As good as you can throw that shot.
That was pure. Perfectly down the middle. And Anniken, this would be a really nice forehand shape for the lefty. Shape's better for the clockwise spin for sure. But she's going to be there about 50 to 60 meters away. Not the most difficult of approaches, but it's one you definitely want to get inside of that 3-meter bullseye ring.
Kristin hitting the inside gap, but that last tree on the left kicking her, fortunately, out to the right. Something in the left would leave her a much more complicated shot. I think from there it will be a simple jump putt approach. No sense in taking that risk for Silva, however. Looking to get that stroke on Kristin. Fantastic shot that curls up just left of the mound. That will be a chance for her to close that one-stroke lead that Kristin has.
Clutch shot from Silva, and Anniken, she's gonna be struggling for par. Almost an unrunnable putt there. And Kristin taking the medicine. She has enough experience in these situations to know that this is not the time to push. Elevated basket, roll away chance behind the green, and being tied for lead with 6 holes to go. It's really not a bad situation. I would argue that almost any player in the tournament would actually take that if they were given the opportunity before the tournament.
Solid putt from Rachel, given the drop off behind. Very confident, good pace and height. Perhaps a little bit left side, but more than good enough to stick the birdie. Silva to close the gap now. Meet Kristin at 10 under. Critical execution here on hole 12. 5 under for the round from Silva through 12 holes. Pretty solid pace as she pushes for the lead.
Absolutely. Already matching her negative par strokes from the previous 2 rounds in this final round number 3. And we have a tied ball game. Moving on to one of the signature holes of the course, one of the more iconic par 5s. We have played 287 meters through the trees. First shot is gonna play really nice for a straight shot, backhand or forehand. Then you want to make this right turn into the wide tunnel through the trees. The fairway is definitely a fair way, as the word would describe it. It's wide enough where if you throw an accurate shot, you're always going to be on the fairway, but if you throw something too overstable, too understable, you can find the rough. Important to take about 100 meters of distance with each shot of the tee, and if you're able to do that, you're almost always going to have a birdie putt, but so much can go wrong on this hole as it's so far in distance.
Silva shaping this shot was a little bit tight on the inside corner, but fortunately kicks back out. Those extra meters will open up her angle significantly for the second shot. We go to Rachel, comfortable on the forehand. I would guess most likely her D1, the most common driver which she likes to throw off the tee forehand, and she is just pinched a bit that bush, likely able to straddle out from there though. Kristin also on the forehand. This is inside, and a kick could provide her some forgiving shape available, but that was not the direction she wanted to see her disc move.
Definitely not. I think she's gonna have an okay position to play for par. Probably the birdie look is gone, but I saw her disc out there on the grass just too far inside for the angle, and similar miss for Anniken. From here, you just want to pitch up to the mouth or just inside the mouth of the second tunnel. Anniken does a good looking shot here. From there, you have about 160 meters to go. So it's definitely unreachable from there. It looks like Kristin actually has an angle to still go for the birdie potentially. Just missing the gap barely, and the door is wide open for Silva right now. With a birdie, she can take a guaranteed stroke on Kristin.
And honestly, great to see a smile from Kristin given the circumstances. There is certainly the possibility for frustration with 2 errant shots in a row. Silva really nice in a pretty prime position Good progress down the fairway, center cut. Rachel, as mentioned, straddling out, not biting off too much. She could have given that more of a swing on the patent pending Anheuser backhand, more of a putting stroke there to get into position, effectively accepting par at best now. She has a lot of distance left.
Yeah, very interesting choice. It looked like she was even thinking about going for more distance, but just deciding to putt to the fairway. And while that is on the right side, she's gonna be okay. Gonna be a chance for par. And Anniken, a big par save opportunity. Nice flip up on the disc. Let's see if she gets all the way around the corner. And she does. That's a beautiful shot. On a beautiful fairway. I think this fairway is one of the most satisfying ones to dissect with your disc if you just hit it right down the middle.
This is Kristin's third shot now. Power forehand. Look at how much she can generate from the standstill stance. Super wide straddle. Perfect use of the width and sits down center fairway. I think there's not many in the FPO field who can pull off a shot like that. Kristin relying on her strengths. A very big moment for Silva now.
About 100 meters to go from here. Needs to flip it up around the corner. And around the corner, does she not quite get there? Gonna be most likely an easy pitch up for par, but pretty much no chance for birdie there.
Rachel with a tough kick out to the left. The gaps are big enough to simply pitch up with a putt, but will remove the chance to, I think, find the basket on the next one. This is Kristin's fourth now. She's going to need to put it close to save the par. This is looking good, but quite high, and it drops out of the sky. I think beautiful use of that slightly lower speed disc to control the distance.
Yeah, I love the angle there from Kristin. Rather fading a little bit left compared to going around the last 3 trees on that right side. Anniken also throwing it very clean. Beautiful angle control, and she's going to be fine. Just a little 4-meter putt left.
Oh, Rachel in a really tricky spot, looking to go underneath, and she's tried her best to have an open look. I think she is still right at the edge of the tree line. Silva here, a long putt, however, laying up for the par. I think wise, now knowing that she's tied and that Kristin is also taking a par at best. Silva knew that that was not the position to push for something risky. Rachel with the scramble. That early release, unfortunately, plaguing her putt once more.
Yeah, very interesting to see the different putting styles inside the card, as Rachel has more of a longer, softer swing compared to, for example, the snappier wrist motion of Kristin. And Silva somewhere in between, a bit of a longer swing, but also a little bit faster on the release.
And with that double bogey, Rachel drops back to 1 under. Anniken's par going to be leaving them tied in third. Kristin and Silva tied in first. The seats are very close and may be shifting. Definitely a score differentiator here. Hole 14 is a 109-meter par 3 looking down the hill. There's that tight initial gap and tunnel as we see the drone flying through. At about halfway to 2/3 of the fairway, it opens up into this slightly more open bowl, but with a left to right slope, OB behind the basket and the elevated pin, there is also so much danger to navigate through that it is very rare to see a card without at least one bogey here. It is a hole that could determine these final standings. This requires the utmost focus and execution here. A dangerous hole 14.
And that's going to be a problem for Silva. Huge opportunity now for Kristin. She's going with forehand to feel more comfortable hitting the gap. Of course, the shape is better for a straight backhand. But look at this shot. Beautifully through the middle, and she's inside the circle for birdie. A rare feat on this hole specifically. And while Silva is going to have to struggle for her par, Kristin has an opportunity to take her own destiny in her own hands on this hole number 14.
Both Anniken and Rachel also opting for the the forehand rather. The danger of the forehand for the right-handed player is that left-to-right slope. If you get it too high or not turned over enough, you can really quickly find a lot of ground towards the OB right. Anniken here looking to save her par, getting this one up into the green, but will be looking downhill at the basket with quite a drop-off and OB behind. It will be a treacherous putt. Silva, an important throw here to try and get close. Reduce the possible stroke swing to just one, potentially. And she's fired along the glide on that, leaving her a 9 to 10 meter putt. Whereas Kristin is significantly closer. We go to Rachel first.
Yeah, Rachel off the tee playing a very overstable forehand, and look at this unlikely break. Doesn't really change the end result, as we don't have a 2 meter rule in effect. This will be the third shot of Rachel, just playing under where the disc was located on the tree. That's gonna be a bogey. I'd say a rare bogey while hitting the gap clean off the tee and not really having a putt for par. As Anniken, one of the scariest putts you're gonna find on this course. And this one needs to sit.
You see from even a chain out, the disc is slowed down so much by the basket, but still leaving her this huge putt back up the hill. Although I think now she is settled only 2 or 3 meters past it. Silva, a critical edge of circle putt for the par, and that is so important for her now. An incredible 3 given the circumstances.
Huge for her score, but even bigger for her momentum, as Kristin now has a chance to take the outright lead. And she does not do it, pulls it wide. And this is now a really difficult putt. 10 meters left, death putt. And that's going to be a bogey. Who could have ever guessed after those drives that it is Silva Saarinen taking a stroke on Kristin Lätt?
Certainly a surprise here, as it looked like Silva was slipping behind. Kristin with the bogey falls back to 9 under, and Silva, your solo leader, potentially for the first time in the tournament now on hole 14, final round. We are on the edge of our seats here with this exciting action. Only 4 holes remain for our FPO lead card.
Yeah, edge of our seats. For this tournament, we upgraded from a bed to real seats so our commentators can see more professional. As we're moving on to hole number 15, par 5, 180 meters. So important to find the fairway here. Hit the first gap off the tee, turn a little bit to the right, hopefully find yourself on the grass. Distance is optional, but important, mostly important on the second shot, as you want to make your way up the hill. Hopefully leave yourself with a short approach for the birdie 4. 180 meters doesn't really do justice for how far the hole is playing, probably playing closer to 220 or even 230. Gap hit off the tee is going to be crucial here. Can't hit the first tree if you want to birdie this hole.
Silva gets the slight hyzer release angle, the slow turn over the late stability. That is effectively a perfect tee shot by her game plan. Kristin has always been favoring the forehand here on 15. And she slips by that big tree. She was on line, and she is right up there next to Silva. But more critically, just shy, Kristin will have to be throwing first in the order.
Feels almost artistic with how these two players are matching each other's shots. And Rachel here going with something quite unstable. Beautiful line, hitting the gap just perfectly and a lot of distance. Look at her flying 15 meters past the two leaders.
Rachel with an opportunity to bounce back after some bogey strokes on the previous few holes. Anniken getting that one angle shot, fading just purely to the right. I think hoping for more flex and more shape out of the drive, potentially in the disc choice or in the execution. You see now she's going to struggle getting too much distance here, but she's pushed up to the base of the hill and will potentially still be able to get the birdie, although it will require a very big shot and a good putt. Kristin now. An aggressive line. Kristin, one of the few players who could potentially eagle this hole, and I think that was maybe at the edge of her awareness there, given how aggressive that execution looked, but overturns towards the gallery. Still some distance left. Silva, I would say less likely to be able to attack for eagle, even given this perfect drive, just due to the backhand distance.
There you go. She's going to be short on the right side. Short of the basket, obviously, but that's going to be just fine, giving herself a good opportunity at birdie. And let's see, Rachel, as we have mentioned, also one of the further throwers in FPO. And you can see the blue circle 2 whisker near her disc. Inside of circle 3 for sure. Probably not a putt she will run though. Silva just 40 meters away and making an unexpected error. That was not the most difficult shot she has thrown this round. And now Kristin has all of the opportunity in the world to put all of the pressure on Silva.
That's exactly the type of shot we expected from both of them. However, only one of our leaders is able to deliver it. Anniken as well is at the top plateau, simply able to chip the hyzer. Good speed control there. Rachel from the bushes.
An opportunity at eagle, doesn't want to run it though. The easy birdie is going to do for her. And we move on to Silva's putt. This is going to be huge for the momentum of the rest of the round. 11 meters.
Silva Saarinen from circle 2 at a critical moment. An incredible birdie putt, getting herself to 2 under through this back 9, and more importantly, maintaining her 1-stroke lead going into 16 over Kristin. Goosebumps, Elias.
And did you just see the body language of Silva? Her gaze staying dead on the floor, not celebrating, knows that she has the potentially the scariest player in FPO behind her. And 1 stroke with 3 holes to go is an ideal situation, of course, but it's nowhere near comfortable.
OTB is very specific on how they list the disc because they want you to like the disc.
Virtually in your hand tells you what the disc is going to feel like, how heavy it's going to be. It's everything you want to know before it shows up to your house.
Not just marketing.
It's only the best.
We see now the view of the tee of hole 16, a 120-meter par 3 with a very unique shape. A lot of players will opt for a turnover backhand that flexes first on a very steep Anheuser and then finds a very late fade. It's a particular angle and honestly very difficult to put it close. There are a variety of other options. Some players, I think Kristin, could potentially play the right-handed forehand hyzer, simply trying to get good progress, land at best probably near circle 2, maybe circle 2's edge. I'm interested to see here how aggressive they choose to be. Any of these trees early in the tunnel can slap you down and leave you with a difficult upshot. Just as I say that, Silva, at this moment, does exactly that. She will be on the right side looking down the hill, probably about 80 meters still left for her. Kristin now with the potential room to get an advantage and get closer to the pin. Finds the other side of the tunnel on the left. Neither of them will have an easy upshot to save par. The rain is falling now as the elements will stress this FPO lead card.
And once again, both Kristin and Silva making similar kinds of errors on the same hole, of course opposite sides of the fairway. And Anniken here, look at this shot, very clean, needs the big skip to get within putting distance, and that is pretty much the best shot you can do with the lefty backhand or righty forehand. The fairway really doesn't shape for that shot to be parked. And look at the Silva approach. Finds the gap just beautifully, and she's gonna be 4 meters away from par. A crucial shot, putting all of the pressure back on Kristin.
Wow. The difficulty level of that shot from Silva really understated. She had the tight gap, the downhill, the rain. Kristin finds herself at circle's edge. Rachel getting her step putt out there, sliding just within the circle. Kristin effectively a must make for her, seeing how close Silva is as we get into these back final holes. Anniken enduring the pouring rain, giving it, I believe, a soft bid, shaking it off. Par, certainly a reasonable score on this very tricky hole. Kristin now.
Massive putt for the rest of the round, and she just misses it high. Great looking release out of the hand. And that miss can be detrimental to her chances. 17 is definitely a hole where you can pick up a stroke. 18 you can pick up 2 strokes. But the win is no longer officially in Kristin's own hands, but rather in Silva's hands.
Silva quick to get the gloves and mittens out. A short putt, but potentially stressful, although right in her wheelhouse. Silva quite unfazed, very stoic throughout the round. And just like that, she will have a 2-stroke lead going into hole 17. And Elias, historically, we have seen Silva take the lead in the final round against Kristin over and over and over. But she has not quite yet found that dominant ending to beat Kristin at a Disc Golf Pro Tour Elite Series event. This may be her opportunity.
This is another opportunity, another tournament, another opportunity, and you might wonder if that is something that Silva is thinking about, as many other times she has had the chance, didn't capitalize. This time, trying to do the different hole 17, 90 meters, we're playing uphill with slight right to left shape, probably playing closer to 100 meters. It's hard to go long on this one, so I really want to see some aggressive shots from our card today. Of course, Anniken is going to be throwing a slight straight to turnover shot. Rest of the players are going to be throwing a slight hyzer. Most important thing, hit the gap. Second most important thing, hit your angle. And third most important thing, throw it hard so that you are not short.
The left side of this fairway is quite forgiving. The right side can be very tricky. Silva not navigating either of those. She is right down the middle, 9 meters away from yet another birdie on 17. Anniken with some pro-level towel play here in the rain, keeping her disc covered the whole time until right before her throw. She gets caught up on that inside corner, but at circle 2 she'll have a chance to still fight for those top 5 positions, currently sitting tied for 5th. Kristin pulls her dry disc out from under the jacket.
She knows that Silva is already in the circle, needs to put this close. And that's not exactly what she was looking for. Circle 2 look, it's very makeable. It is definitely makeable. I do see a universe where Kristin makes her putt, and Silva misses. But it's looking a little bit unlikely as Rachel throws a beautiful shot in the circle there.
We see Silva's friend Jenny on caddy duty, keeping her dry, giving her that comfort of a friendly face in a stressful competitive environment. We go first to Anniken with the step putt.
And Kristin as well, having her husband Silva on the bag. Now this is a huge putt. 15 meters, needs to put it in to get the pressure, and that's not gonna be good. At least 2 strokes going into the final hole, depending on what Silva does. Let's take another look. Great release, I thought, just missing it.
Wow. Disc golf, a game of centimeters. The Disc Golf Pro Tour title on the line. Potentially millimeters there, Elias. for both Kristin and Silva. You said it earlier, almost poetic, matching each other hole for hole.
That is big for our drama, because hole 18, I don't see a 3-stroke swing happening on hole number 18, but 2-stroke swing is absolutely possible with the island hole, especially in the rain. The grass is wet, the tee pads are wet. Anything can happen for 2 strokes. Kristin there, you know that in her head she's not happy with the situation, but she's absolutely not giving up.
And Rachel with her birdie taking the solo 3rd position, going into the final hole 18, sitting on that podium alongside the other 2 top players. We go to hole 18, a 190-meter par 4, although playing downhill the entire way. You have this initial drive which allows you a big rip into the open field. Most players will want to be fading left on their flight to open up the angle around the corner to this island green. If you do not stick the island, you land in hazard, meaning that you'll take an additional penalty stroke but play where it lies. You mentioned a potential 2-stroke swing, Elias. The way that happens is that someone sticks the island for their birdie. One person may miss the island and have a very long putt to save par. It is certainly a differentiator, and in this weather will require complete focus. Execution of 2 shots, while not particularly difficult on their own, you must require both elements and ingredients here to find the birdie. We go to Rachel first.
Very nice to be first on the tee in Rachel's position. Put it out there in play. Give a little wind check to these other players. Though the wind is very far down, the wind shouldn't be a factor here. Silva's just trying to put it in play. And this is fading quite far left. The left is definitely a good miss. You don't want to miss right. If you want to miss somewhere, you'd rather miss left. But she does have some good distance left to the basket.
Anniken likely going to go with something slightly understable here for that leftwards movement, but a net straight result is also just fine. She's done just that. You can see the spectators lining the walls and roof of the OTB Center here at Ale. The umbrellas are out to watch this final round come to fruition. Everybody hoping to find out who will be the 2025 FPO Ale Open champion. The upshots to the island now, the last remaining factor.
Both of our leaders staying composed, staying focused, knowing that this is the biggest shot of the tournament coming up. But first, Rachel trying to approach the green with a forehand. This is looking really nice. Needs to slow down and look at the touch. A little roll away on the green, but she's going to be inside the circle.
Order of play going to be very important here. Anniken, this shot shaping very nicely for the lefty backhand. Going straight at it. She's not pleased, although I think it has the push just barely making the island. I had a sense she would get there. Critical moment for Kristin. If she wants any chance, she must stick this, and ideally close to the pin.
Going with that overstable forehand, a little bit wide out of the hand, but the overstability of the disc making good work of that approach. 5-meter putt, very likely make there. Now Silva has a chance to solidify her position as the first place in this tournament. Needs to get it inbounds.
This looks good. It has the height, it has the pace, it has the speed. And Silva Saarinen is on the island at 18 inbounds with that 2-stroke lead. She can lay up Elias. Not forced to run it. We go to Anniken.
Big gallery watching, and that's going to be a great birdie finish for her. +2 score for today. Not her best effort, but absolutely solid still. Tied 4th place. And this is Rachel just laying up for 3rd, knowing the situation, doesn't need to push for any score.
Kristin for birdie. It's as good as she can do here to get herself to 10 under, 4 under for the round. And Silva approaching the green, knowing that she can lay up, take the par, have a one-stroke lead. And just like that, with these short remaining putts, overcoming the obstacle of Kristin Lätt, your 2025 Ale Open champion, Silva Saarinen, finally showing some emotion here, securing an amazing Disc Golf Pro Tour Europe Elite Series win and an incredible final round performance from second place.
The winner of Ale Open 2025, presented by Disc Golf, Silva Saarinen.
I speak for the whole disc golf world when we say we are proud of Silva for this performance. We are proud of her for overcoming that lead that Kristin came in with. And with tears in her eyes, she hoists the trophy. What a moment, Elias.
Truly incredible. And you can see how much this means to her. This is not her first Elite Series win after last year's Turku Open, but the first time she was able to overtake Kristin for that first place spot on the Elite Series level. Incredible composure through the entire round, letting the emotions flow finally. And this is something we're gonna see in the future, a lot more battles between these two specific players. Incredible finish overall. Rachel Turton third place, and besides Anniken on our card taking tied fourth, a young player from Finland, Ida Lehtomäki, solid final round to also push herself up to that tied fourth position.
We are happy to be bringing you this European disc golf coverage. It's not always clear from the outside how much effort is put in from the editing team, the camera people, the commentators, of course. We are here to bring you the best coverage in the world, and to support us, you can like, comment, subscribe, send it to your friends, and we will catch you at the next Disc Golf Pro Tour Europe event. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.